Kapingamarangi is one of the most remote and inaccessible places in the Pacific. It lies just north of the equator in the Pacific Ocean, 700 kilometers south of Pohnpei, the state capital, and over 1,700 kilometers southeast of Guam. Around 500 people live on this small, flat atoll, which has no runway or airstrip and is serviced just 3 to 4 times a year by a government-owned vessel. The only contact with the outside world is via 3 satellite phones placed in the school, the dispensary, and the local council office. With just one primary school, access to secondary education is a challenge, as is responding to health emergencies. The residents of Kapingamarangi are of Polynesian descent, and partly as a result of their isolation and remoteness, they are very resilient. In normal conditions, islanders rely on rainwater harvesting systems and on shallow wells to supply their water needs. However, because of the shallow nature of the freshwater lens, well water may often be brackish. The 2016 El Niño drought lasted several months, and despite careful conservation, such as bathing and washing dishes in salt water, islanders faced severe hardships. The water from the well ran low and turned brackish, and the water storage tanks emptied. Even coconuts dried out, so the option of drinking coconut water was not available. And with so many islands to cover, the FSM government was hard-pressed to deliver the required emergency response. After the drought was over, islanders asked their mayor to seek assistance to secure additional water storage systems. The planning phase took 14 months and involved 2 separate visits to Kapingamarangi in June 2018 and in January 2019. The actual installation took place in September 2019. Due to the uniquely difficult transportation challenges, it was necessary to charter a vessel to transport materials and the project team to Kapingamarangi in September 2019. At the outset, the project team recognized that they had just one opportunity to complete the installation. There would be no opportunity to go back the 700 kilometers to Pohnpei to purchase forgotten items. So a massive logistical planning operation started in January 2019. Every item, from bags of nails to lengths of piping and timber to the tanks themselves, had to be specified and purchased in advance. The task was made even more difficult in that materials had to be procured from different countries in the Pacific. For example, the tanks came from the Marshall Islands and the first flush diverters from New Zealand. For the return journey from Kapingamarangi to Pohnpei, there were no large bulky items such as water tanks to be transported. Rather, it was a case of transporting the project team. So the Okeanos Messenger was chartered. This is a traditional twin-hulled sailing canoe designed to run solely on renewable resources: wind, solar energy, and coconut oil biofuel. The return journey took 3 days. At the onset of the activity in June 2018 and throughout the planning and implementation stages, frequent consultations were held with the community in Kapingamarangi so as to ensure the RENI project addressed their needs. Regular discussions were also held with the Mayor and Senator for Kapingamarangi, the Pohnpei State Government, and the National Government of the Federated States of Micronesia. Managers of other water projects were consulted, including the FSM Adaptation Fund, which is also working in Kapingamarangi. "24 local community members were contracted to help with the installation of the water systems. This was one of the lessons learned from previous projects. Besides providing the workers with an income-earning opportunity, it enabled them to develop the skills needed for repair and maintenance. This involvement in the project activities also helped develop community ownership of the water systems. Access to safe drinking water is recognized by the United Nations as essential for the realization of human rights. During the design of the RENI project in Kapingamarangi, it was decided to focus on the most vulnerable people in the community first, namely the youth, the sick, and the elderly. Firstly, water storage systems were established at the primary school, providing the children with an addition of 3,000 gallons of good quality drinking water. Secondly, the sick and the elderly are also among the most vulnerable people. So an additional 3,000 gallons of drinking water were provided at the dispensary, and at the suggestion of the mayor of Kapingamarangi, a direct water connection was provided to the home of the oldest resident on the island, an 80-year-old lady. The people of Kapingamarangi now have an additional 51,000 gallons of drinking water available to them during normal times and during drought conditions. This additional storage includes the new systems at the school and the dispensary, as well as the new system at the church, which is available for all the community. The new water storage systems have been successfully installed with strong concrete bases. Plastic storage tanks that are certified safe for storing drinking water in tropical weather conditions have been placed on top of the bases. New piping and guttering collect the water from the roofs. Special devices called leaf eaters and first flush diverters have been installed. These filter the debris that collects on the roof away from the water tanks. And taps are in place so that people can access the water. The new water systems are fenced. This will help the school principal, the manager of the dispensary, and the church leaders manage the water supplies during normal conditions and to ration the water during droughts. By working with the sister project, the FSM Adaptation Fund project, a large concrete water storage tank was connected to a newly installed roof catchment at the church. And while spare materials such as pipes and fittings were included in the shipment of materials to Kapingamarangi, a lesson for the future is to include even more spares that can help with unexpected needs. So, with the help of the European Union North Pacific Readiness for El Niño project, the people of Kapingamarangi are now better prepared for the next drought.